Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Nath Hughes here. In today's video, we are taking a look into the 2024 United States presidential election. Before we get into that, I have to let you know who I am and what I do. My name is Natalie Hughes. I am a life mindset and manifestation coach in my business and on my platform. I help professional women to co-create emotionally fulfilled and purpose-driven lives for themselves. Today's video is a little bit out of the ordinary for me. Some of you might have deduced this by the astrology die that I use in some pick a card readings that I do, but I am an astrologer. I just don't do it often, and I don't typically do it for things like this. However, I have been seeing a myriad of videos and tweets and things all about this election, and I feel like I'm getting so many messages, and I feel so intrigued and so inspired that I figured I would throw my interpretation out there for the world, and we can dive into this shit together because it looks very, very interesting. There's a couple key transits that I want to talk to you guys about. There's a couple key dates that I want to look at. We have Kamala's chart pulled up, we have Donald's chart pulled up, and we are going to look at some transits. We're going to look at dates from November 5th. We're also going to look at November 19th because that was a date that really caught my eye. I had seen it mentioned a couple different times. So we're going to look at November 19th, and we're going to look at January 6th, 2025, and we're going to look at the transits of that day and how it lines up with each presidential candidate's natal charts. Okay, are you excited? I'm kind of excited. Let's get into it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make this shit bigger because my old glass is broken and bitch, I can barely see. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to start looking at is the transits for November 5th of 2024. This was election day. And the most important thing that I want to start off looking at this with is Pluto in Capricorn. Right here and right now, Pluto is in Capricorn, and it's on its 29th degree. And this is something that really stood out to me. It's something that the guides are saying, this is so important. You need to look at this. You need to talk about this. You need to focus on this. Okay, there's so many messages that are coming through. Did I start this off by saying I'm a psychic medium? You guys, I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience right now, okay? I feel like I'm high. I am not high. I am sober. I just feel so deeply connected. I feel like I'm outside of my soul in a different fucking dimension, okay? So you guys are gonna have to just follow me, and if you need to rewatch this video, then rewatch it. Let's dive in. So Pluto is in Capricorn. Pluto is getting ready to move into Aquarius. A lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people are very excited about this. Here's what I'm going to say. A lot of people are very misinformed about what a Pluto and Aquarius transit means. There's a lot of people who are, I want to say, internet gangsters and internet social justice warriors that do not actually understand the implications of a collapse of the United States of America. I'm not saying that the United States is going to collapse. I'm going to get further into that in a little bit as we start talking about Pluto and Aquarius. But there are a whole bunch of people who I'm assuming are able-bodied. There are a whole bunch of people who I'm assuming have a fuck ton of savings. There are a whole bunch of people who I'm assuming have the ability to leave the country, have people all over the world that can help them and can support them in the event of a collapse of the United States. What are the implications for that in terms of the globe? What are the implications for that in terms of the global economy? There are so many negative, horrible implications, and there's a lot of people approaching this from the childish fucking perspective that, oh my God, yes, if America goes down, then imperialism and capitalism lose, and blah, 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 and that is not the appropriate perspective. The appropriate perspective is that if these government structures actually fall and actually go down, or if certain governmental parties actually become in power and do terrible fucking things, the blunt and honest truth is that people will die. The blunt and honest truth is that people who are reliant on governmental structures and programs and support systems, if those people do not have access to those resources, if those people do not have adequate savings, if those people do not have adequate transit, if those people do not have the things that they need to survive and to thrive, it will be absolutely terrible and absolutely catastrophic. And the reason why I say this is because I don't even know if people with that perspective would be clicking on this fucking video, but it's not an energy that we need to entertain. It's not something that we need to celebrate. It's not something that we need to look forward to, because it's not a joke and it's not a game, and it's not just people that you're seeing that don't exist, that aren't real. It is real human beings and real lives that are really being negatively impacted. So every single thing that I'm giving to you is my own opinion and it's my own perspective. Absolutely none of it is hard, cold fact. But what I will say is that it's real. If these things were to come true, if these things were to happen, it's real. And again, I'm not saying that there's terrible, horrible things happening, but there's a lot of people who are spewing a lot of stupid shit online. And that's partially because Neptune is currently retrograde in Pisces. There's a lot of people who are spewing a lot of stupid shit online, and they don't actually understand the negative consequences of if these things were to happen. It's not going to be a fun, happy time where me and my homegirls are riding around killing Nazis. It's absolutely fucking terrible. Think about the things that were happening during the civil rights movement. I haven't pulled up anything for the civil rights movement, but we might end up looking back on that. Think about what was going on in Birmingham, Alabama, which was called Bombingham, because people's homes were being fucking bombed, because churches were being bombed. Think about everything that was going on in 1964. Think about how that could change and shift with what we have going on today in terms of our technology, in terms of surveillance, in terms of all of that stuff. And none of this is like government conspiracy. They're watching you, they're in power, you're powerless. None of it is any of that stupid bullshit. So just don't even allow your mind to go there. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a life mindset and manifestation coach before I am anything else. And so the purposes of anything that I'm sharing with you or I'm telling you are to support you in becoming empowered. That's the lens that I do astrology through. That's the lens that I read tarot through. And that's how I'm looking at this thing. So we have Pluto in Capricorn. What is Pluto? Pluto is a planet of transformation. Pluto is our personal sense of power, the power we have over others, the power we have over ourselves, the power that we have to change the world, the power that we have to create a legacy. And we're going to talk about legacy. We're going to talk about money. Because when I think Pluto, I think Scorpio. When I think Pluto and I think Scorpio, I think the 8th house. And those 8th house, mouth, please. My brain is going faster and my mouth can't keep up. Those 8th house placements we're going to talk about when we start talking about Donald Trump's chart, but his chart is absolutely fucking last, because God knows I do not want to get in that man's fucking energy. I try to avoid it at all costs, but I need to, so here we are. All right. Pluto is all about personal power. It's about money. It's about our own personal power, our ability to create positive change in our lives. Capricorn energy is about structure. Capricorn energy is about government. That is why this Pluto in Capricorn is so incredibly important. And because Capricorn is going to be ruled by Saturn, we have to look at Saturn, as we have Pluto in this 29th degree, this fucking important degree, this most important portion of the chart degree. We have Pluto in this 29th degree of Capricorn, of a government structure. 29 degrees is the end of a cycle. 29 degrees is when we are beginning to transition. We are ending this Capricorn energy. We are beginning to transition into Aquarian energy. Pluto is beginning to move into the sign of Aquarius. Pluto will officially be in Aquarius by the time that it is January 6th, which is the final day for all of the electoral college people, whatever, to say, all right, these are the results of the election, signed, sealed, delivered, we're done. So January 6th is a really important day. By the time that it's January 6th, Pluto will have moved into Aquarius. The time that Pluto is going to take to go from 29 degrees Capricorn as it begins to transition into Aquarius, this is a huge death transition moment, okay? And we have to think about what Pluto means and what Capricorn means. Because when we think Pluto and we think Scorpio, we do think destruction. So a lot of people who talk about Pluto and Aquarius energy and they think immediately destruction, horrible things, it's like, well, I guess in a way, maybe possibly. But Pluto in Scorpio with like the Rodney King riots, that was more aligned energetically. I'm not saying that you won't see riots during Pluto in Aquarius, but Aquarius is not the energy of let's burn it all down. When you think about Pluto in Aquarius and you think about the Pluto return of the United States, which is also happening as Pluto moves in and through Aquarius, you have to think about the United States government. The United States government was not created from this completely new thing. Talk. Brain, work, work, work. Hold on, pause. Okay, I have to explain some astrology to you for you to completely get it. And trust me, all of this is imperative so that we can all be on the same page moving forward as we get into these dates. When you have Scorpio energy is the phoenix. What does the phoenix do? The phoenix burns itself alive, turns completely to ashes, and then is reborn. That's Scorpio energy. That's phoenix energy. Scorpio energy is when we completely kill the old that was not working for us. We cannot continue to live in this same way. We cannot continue to operate in this same way. So people with Scorpio energy, Scorpio sun, moon, rising, Venus, blah, 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 a lot of them can get caught up in those toxic ass cycles that they have come here to break. Scorpio and a high vibrational energy is going to be the genesis. Scorpio is not the beginning of the zodiac, but Scorpio is the beginning of a new lineage, the beginning of a new life. Scorpio takes the wisdom of all of the signs that have come before it, and it is able to look and expertly, intuitively, right? Because Scorpio is water sign energy. Oh my God, this is going to be so fucking long. I love doing astrology content like this, and I love when the energy is flowing, but I'm just realizing I'm like talking to my guides and you guys at the same time. I'm just realizing this is going to go on forever because I can talk about this shit all day. Okay. So Scorpio energy is going to take all of the information from all of the signs and all of the experiences, everything that it has learned from Aries all the way through Libra. It's going to take all of that and it's going to intuitively decide what needs to die and what gets to stay. So we have Scorpionic energy, which is intuitive because it's water sign energy. So wherever we have Pluto, we also have intuition. Scorpio is depth. Scorpio is secrets, eighth house energy, the things that we don't know about, possibly even deals that were done in the dark. It can also talk about traumas and different things like that. So we have this Plutonic energy that is going to expertly suss out what is good and what isn't. It's like, God, what is that? What is that called? Um, I want to say like an audit. I want to say like, what do I want to say? Like when you have, I'm thinking of the episode from The Office where Oscar from accounting is going into Michael Scott's office and is like, so we have a surplus. We need to spend this money. Otherwise, they're going to take that extra out of our budget because they're going to think that we don't need it. And Michael Scott is like, what's a surplus? Explain it to me like I'm 7. And then Oscar explains it. And then Michael's like, okay, explain it to me like I'm 5. And Oscar is like, okay, let's say that your mommy and daddy give you $9 to start a lemonade stand, and you only use $4 for the lemonade stand. Now you have $5 left over. If you do not spend the $5 that your mommy and daddy gave you, the next time you want to open a lemonade stand, they're only going to give you $4. I think that's what he was saying, right? And so the point is, that's Scorpio energy. Scorpio is the energy that's going to look at the way that things have been. They're going to look at what's efficient. They're going to look at what's working, and they're going to look at what's harmful. Scorpio is the thing that detects the cancer and cuts it the fuck out before it can infect everything else. And so when we think about this energy, we have Scorpio, which is going to be death that leads us into rebirth. Sagittarius energy is all about discovery. Sagittarius energy is about going to a different culture, going to a different country, to experience a different culture, to see how the other side lives. I want to go here and I want to see how they live here, and I want to see what principles they have here and what values they have here. And based on how they're living, maybe I'm going to take a little bit of their beliefs, and I'm going to take a little bit of these beliefs, and I'm going to do a little bit of this, and I'm going to do a little bit of this. And then Capricorn is the structure that you create as a consequence of all that you have discovered and you have learned. So, for example, if we're talking about the formation of the United States of America, you have people who have come from England to the United States, right? And then you have this king in England who is like, these are the taxes that I am going to be charging you. This is how I want you to live. It's been a minute since I brushed up on my United States history, especially the formation of the United States history. So we're going to do the best that we can with what the fuck that we have, okay? So you've got these settlers that we're gonna call it. Were the colonies before or after the whole I need to pause this and I need to go listen to Hamilton the musical, and then I'm gonna come right back. Okay. Sorry, seriously. Focus. Brothers, we must stay focused. Okay. So the people are on the east of what will become the United States. They're in Boston, right? Yes. They're like, fuck these taxes, fuck the way that you have been doing things. This is not working for us. We do not want to do this. We want to do our own thing. For me, in my perspective, that was like a Scorpio leaning into Aquarius moment. But the reason why I say that it's Scorpio is because they decided that the way that the British government was doing things, the way that the British government was taxing things, did not work for them. We're going to kill this off. We're going to do something different. We're going to create a government structure that is rooted in democracy. We're going to create a government structure where everyone is equal and everyone has a say, and we're going to do this and this. That's Sagittarius energy, okay? The Declaration of Independence is Sagittarius energy. And doesn't that just make so much fucking sense? Because what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is all about freedom, which is really important, especially as we're talking about Mercury in Sag, Venus in Sag, and Venus is actually going to be in Pisces by the time that we get into January 6th. Mercury is still going to be in Sagittarius. So the themes of Sag and Neptune are very important. So remember everything that I'm telling you now, especially as we get into Donald Trump's chart with this moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius values freedom over anything else. Sagittarius will do absolutely anything in order to secure their own freedom. That means a Sagittarius will lie to you in order to guarantee their own freedom. Sagittarius are not necessarily trustworthy when it comes to their own freedoms and getting to where they need to go. This is why Sagittarius needs Saturnian energy. Sagittarius needs Capricorn energy. Capricorn is all about integrity. Sagittarius values freedom above all else. I don't mean that all Sagittarius are liars. I just mean that Sagittarius's number one value is going to be freedom. Integrity for some of them could be right underneath it, but freedom is going to be above all else. And if I have to sacrifice my integrity, if I have to lie, if I have to perjure myself in order to secure my freedom, if I'm a Sagittarius, I'm going to do that because my freedom is the most important thing to me ever. So, okay, we've got this energy of the Declaration of Independence. Sagittarius is all about being independent. What's an example of this? There are some Sagittariuses who are under the impression that a relationship is what's going to take away their freedom. They won't have the freedom to explore freely. They won't have the freedom to be their own person. They won't have the freedom to sleep with whoever they want to sleep with and explore different cultures and experiences through exploring intimacy with other people. So what are they going to do? They're going to cheat. Cardi B and Offset, I think that's the name of her ex-husband. That's the example that comes to mind. That is prime Sagittarius energy. A lot of people say Sagittarius men energy, but I'm not going to get specific on that because really it's just Sagittarian energy. So, okay, you have this Sagittarian energy. The Declaration of Independence is prime time Sagittarian energy, but it's Sagittarian energy moving into Capricorn energy. What is Capricorn energy? Capricorn energy is the structure that I create that is made to last. Sagittarius energy is not necessarily made to last because Sagittarius energy is mutable energy. Mutable energy is going to change and shift depending on its environment, which is really good for Sagittarius because what is Sagittarius supposed to do? It's supposed to learn new things and it's supposed to teach those new things to other people. So it's supposed to go from place to place to place, learning new things, teaching new things, blah, 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 which is really great and amazing, especially when you're starting up a new government. But this is not the energy that can sustain a new government. If we want sustenance, nope, that's not the right word. If we want sustainability, in terms of a government structure, we want to bring in some earth. We want something that's going to ground it. That's how we move into Capricorn energy. Moving into Capricorn energy is the structure that we create. It is the government that we create, but it can also be, we're governing things all of the time, aren't we? Let's say that you are going up the ranks in your job. You're climbing up that corporate ladder and you become the manager. When you were in a lower position in the company, you were observing the previous manager. You were saying, I don't like how they do that. I think that's a waste of company time. That meeting could have been an email, blah, 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 blah. While you were underneath that manager and you were in that lower position, you were in your Scorpio energy, Libra energy, if you were being very diplomatic and very kind to whoever was in that position, right? So you're in that Scorpionic energy, you're looking at what's efficient, you're looking at what's not working, then you become promoted, you get into that managerial position, and now you're really looking at what was working, what wasn't working, and now I'm going to cross out everything that wasn't working. We're not doing these meetings anymore, we're not having a Monday meeting, we're having a Monday email, and blah, 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 blah. So now I am taking out what's not working. Sagittarius, I'm taking us to a new place that we've never been before. I'm introducing new concepts and ways of being that have never been before. And then Capricorn energy is when it becomes a practice. Capricorn energy is when it becomes a company standard. Capricorn energy is when I have changed the way that our company functions forever, for good. We're not going to get rid of the changes that I've made just because I move further up along in the company or just because I leave the company. I have now introduced a new, better feeling way of being that is here to stay. When you think Capricorn energy, you think staying power, because when you think Capricorn energy, you think legacy. When you think Capricorn energy, you think I'm here for a good time and a long time. Capricorn energy is the GOAT. And I don't just mean the greatest of all time, which I do believe that because I have a Capricorn moon. So I am, biased. But that's not the point. Capricorn energy is quite literally the GOAT. That's the animal symbol. And if you look up goats and pictures of goats, you can see the little goats climbing up the fucking mountains. And it's like, how is that goat on this mountain, which is like at this like 90-degree fucking angle, and this goat is just standing on this one single fucking pebble, like the smallest pebble that you ever see. You can't even see it in the fucking picture. How is this goat scaling this wall like this? It does not make sense. That's Capricorn energy. Capricorn makes the impossible possible through practical action and a plan. Capricorn energy and Pisces energy work incredibly well together. They form a sextile. We might be talking about that. Yes, we are talking about that because we have Neptune and Pisces retrograde, which is going to be forming a very beautiful sextile to this Pluto and Capricorn energy. We'll get there in a second. So the point is, Capricorn energy is that new government structure. Sagittarius energy is the idea. Why don't we create a declaration of independence? And then the rules can be this, and then we can do this, and we can have 13 colonies. I don't know if that's the actual history, okay? Do your own fucking research on the actual history. Like I said, it's been a minute since I've thought about this shit. The point is, that's the idea. Sagittarius energy is the idea. Let's draft up a declaration of independence, okay? Capricorn energy is when the Declaration of Independence is created. Capricorn energy is when the Constitution is brought into effect. So Capricorn energy is going to be when these things are written into law, these things are agreed on, these things become practices and ways of being. Now, as a consequence of that, Capricorn is going to be a structure that's supposed to work for people, except dun 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 dun. Just kidding, it's not that dramatic. Well, you know, unless you're one of the people that fall into this next category, we have Aquariuses. We have people that the current system does not work for, because the system was not built for them. The system was not built for people like them. The system was not built with them in mind. They were not in the room where it happened. They were not there when the laws were created. They were not having those discussions. They were not thought about. Women were not thought about. Enslaved people were not thought about. And then Aquarian energy would be like the amendments, the 13th Amendment, which quote unquote, what's the word that I'm looking for? Ended slavery, abolished slavery. There we go. The 13th Amendment, which allegedly abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment is the naturalized citizenship one, whatever. So we've got all of these amendments of the Constitution. That's Aquarian energy. Aquarius is the energy of, all right, we've got this new system, we've got this new way of being, and it's made to be here for a really long time. And Aquarius energy are the people that the new system doesn't work for. They fall through the cracks. I did an entire video on Aquarius energy, well, Uranus energy, which is basically Aquarius energy. So I'm going to have that linked in the description. We're not going to spend too much time talking about Uranus today, or Aquarius today. So basically, oh my God, I need to take a breath. Oh, goodness. I feel like I've gone on a marathon in my mouth. Okay. I do not want this to be too long, y'all. And we haven't even got into the shit. Like, we're getting into it, but like all of this is such important background. Okay, so Aquarius energy, Uranus energy, the people that have fallen through the cracks, the people who are the quote unquote outcasts, the people who things are not made to work for them, so it doesn't work for them, they fall under the energy of Aquarius. When Aquarius rises to power, Capricorn feels really challenged. Why? Because Capricorn is egotistical as fuck. Capricorn is the structure that was created after we went through the death and destruction of Scorpio, after we went through that Sagittarian energy. So Capricorn is supposed to be the best of the best. What do you mean you need to change the system? What do you mean the system doesn't work? The system works fine. Look at all these people that the system has worked for. Look at all these people who have created success. This is the American dream. What do you mean it doesn't work? What do you mean you can't find work? What do you mean the economy isn't good enough? What do you mean you're slipping through the cracks now? This is incredibly important. As Pluto moves into Aquarius, We have people who feel marginalized. We have people who feel like they have slipped through the cracks that are rising to power. I see a lot of people online thinking that they're the only people who feel marginalized. This is not true. And that is like such like a, I want to say a fatal mistake, but it doesn't have to be that, like serious, like you're all gonna fucking die. But it's a really big mistake to think that white men have it perfectly in the United States. And this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump rises to power. This Aquarian energy and the rise of woke, this Aquarius energy and the changes in government structures. If Kamala Harris were to become president, that would be Pluto in Aquarius. Boom. Like, that would be absolute insanity. Kamala Harris, being the child of immigrants, being black, being Indian, and being a woman, that's like double fucking homicide, quadruple homicide, infinite fucking homicide. Like, what are you? And I'm not talking about real homicide. Don't send those people to my house. There are no threats in any of this. The point is, it would be absolutely mind fucking blowing. Why? Because Pluto in Capricorn, the structures that were put in place, who created those structures? The structures that were put in place, when those people created those structures, who did they create those structures for? When those people wrote the Declaration of Independence, who were they writing it for? Who were they intending this would serve? Were they intending that the people in shackles would be able to utilize these laws? Were they intending that the people whose lands they had stolen, whose people they had murdered and treated so terribly that I do not have the words to describe what happened to the people who were indigenous to this land before those settlers, yes, before the settlers came, before the colonizers came? Were they intending that those people would be utilizing these laws to create equity, to grow and expand wealth in this country? Were they intending that those people would be able to create empowerment and freedom in this country through those laws? No. No. Plain and simple, short fucking answer, no. You weren't in the minds when they were creating the first draft. No, they didn't see that. That wasn't in the plan. So Pluto in Capricorn, changes in structures, an old system and an old being is on the way out. Pluto in Capricorn in the 29th degree, the old system and the old way of being, it's like what I was hearing as I was tapping into the energy and looking at all the charts was, I'm not going out without a fight. Pluto in Capricorn in the 29th degree, all of this shit is coming to an end. And I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about the way that things have been. Because what is Aquarian energy? Aquarian energy isn't necessarily the same as Scorpio. It is change. Scorpio is change, Aquarius is change, but the methods of change are different. Aquarius doesn't necessarily want to burn down the structure. Aquarius isn't the phoenix. What does Aquarius want to do? Aquarius wants a seat at the table. Aquarius wants an amendment. Aquarius says, hey, you forgot about me. You didn't think about me when you created this company. You didn't think about my needs as a neurodivergent person when you created the Department of Justice. You didn't think about what I need when you did da 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 da. I'd like for you to amend that. I'd like for you to change that. I'd like for you to grow and expand this. I'd like for you to add to this. And remember, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So Pluto in Aquarian energy is not like Pluto in Scorpio energy. Pluto in Scorpio energy might be, I want to burn it down. I want to tear it all down. I want it to die, because that's the Scorpionic energy. Pluto in Aquarius energy, Aquarius is ruled by what? Uranus. Uranus is a wonky motherfucker. Like literally Uranus, the planet in the sky, the way that Uranus moves and rotates is weird. I think, God, how did he describe it in the video? He was talking about Uranus, and the way that Uranus turns on its axis is like completely fucking opposite to all of the other planets. I don't remember how to describe it, but long story short, Uranus is a weird bitch, okay? And I don't mean bitch in a bad way or a derogatory way. I love the weirdos of the world. I guess I am one of the weirdos of the world, but it's normal to me, so I don't consider myself to be weird. But most people probably perceive me to be weird. Doesn't really matter. The point is, Uranus is a weirdo. Uranus moves in a weird way. Uranus is considered to be unpredictable. Uranus energy is the energy of people being like, whoa, I did not see this coming. So as we have Pluto in Capricorn in 29 degrees, moving into Pluto in Aquarius in the first degree, we are in for a world of, whoa, I did not see that coming. Whoa, I did not think that things were going to go that way. Whoa, I had no idea that this was going to happen. And this makes a lot of sense because what? We have Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 25 degrees, which is going to make a nice sextile to Neptune in Pisces, and it's also going to trine Pluto in Capricorn. So right now, Uranus, Saturn's included too, but all of the outer planets, this is really good energy. I know when people see retrogrades and all that, they're like, oh my God, it's terrible, terrible energy, blah, blah, but I don't really do shit like that, right? So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, these are friends, and these are our friends right here and right now. And the reason why this is because Uranus and Taurus energy is about an upgrade. Uranus doesn't just do shit to do shit. Uranus is not just like, Uranus is not mercurial Gemini energy. Gemini energy is like girls just want to have fun. Gemini energy is that snippet from the Kanye West song. No one knows what it means, but it's provocative, gets the people going. Gemini energy is gonna just say some shit and you might really be offended by it. And if you are offended by it and if you really get riled up over it, Gemini energy is like, that was so fucking hilarious. Did you see how I got under that guy's skin? Right? So Gemini energy is the troll in that way. It can be, it doesn't always have to manifest in that way. But if we're talking about being random and weird and bet you didn't see that coming, gotcha, that's Gemini energy. That's not Aquarius energy. Aquarius energy isn't trying to be weird. Aquarius energy isn't doing it because it looks cool. Aquarius energy is being authentic. And so the reason why Uranus seems like, oh my God, this is so weird, this is so crazy, is because a lot of people are looking at Uranus and they're approaching Uranus from the perspective of that Capricorn energy, from the perspective of, this is what I expect, this is how people are, this is what happens for people like us, or this is what happens when we take one result. And Uranus is built in a completely different way. Uranus is built for the underdog. So when you have Pluto in Aquarius energy, Pluto in Aquarius is going to favor the underdog. Now listen, the underdog is not just black and brown people. The underdog is not just women, because all of the millions of people who actually did cast their votes for Trump, they fall under Aquarius energy too. And a lot of people don't understand this because they're being fed this story and this narrative that they are the oppressed people because they are the people of color and they are the only people who are victims. But there are people who genuinely and authentically have been falling through the cracks. There are people that there are white people that white supremacy sacrifices every single day. And I'm not talking about sacrifices like kills them, okay? I'm talking about sacrifices like sacrifices their well-being, sacrifices like doesn't take care of them. White supremacy is this idea and this concept that because you are white, you should be above everyone else. You should be taken care of. If we did bring slavery back, then you would be back on top. But that's not true, because the truth was that enslaving people was very expensive. Owning people as property was very expensive. A lot of people in the South were not able to actually own full on plantations and blah 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 blah, to be making all of this money and growing and expanding all of this wealth. That is just not the truth. And so this idea, this concept, this white supremacist ideology is really rooted in a fallacy. It's rooted in this idea and concept that if I put these other people down to lift myself up, then I'm going to be taken care of, but they're not. They have not been for hundreds of fucking years. So with this Pluto and Aquarius energy, all of those people, all of those generations of people who have been falling through the cracks, they're going to rise up too. And what that looks like, I don't know. What that looks like, we don't even need to get into. But with the energy of Pluto and Aquarius is going to favor the underdog. Take it all the way back to the formation of the United States. What is that, 1776? Take it all the way back to the formation of the United States. Pluto and Aquarius. The United States was favored in that particular way because in that particular situation, they were the underdog. They were the underdog that, what is it, the British, is it British monarchy? British, I don't know the word. I think it is British monarchy. The British government was not doing right by those people. Those people were genuinely under the impression that they were the underdog. So it does not necessarily matter what the quote unquote truth of the situation is. It matters that I perceive myself to be someone who is slipping through the cracks. Pluto and Aquarius gives me the opportunity to take my power back. Pluto, personal power. Aquarius, I've slipped through the cracks. I want an amendment. I want to be included. I want to be in the room where it happens. Somebody in that room needs to be there to represent me. That is one of the reasons why so many people voted for Donald Trump. Because they want to be in the room. They feel like they're not in the room. Donald Trump is the man who says the quiet part out loud. We're going to talk about that more when we talk about his energy and we talk about his chart. He is the man who says the quiet part out loud. So every single person that has voted for him, they believe, are under the false impression that this is a man who shares their values. And the reason why it's super important that we talk about being under the false impression is because right now Neptune is retrograde in Pisces in 27 degrees. And I wasn't planning on going into Donald Trump's chart. Hold on, let me make sure this is still recording. Okay, sorry if that looks a little silly when I check back to my my freaking thingy majiggy, but I am doing a screen record in a way that I can pause it if I need to pause it. But let's skip to Donald Trump's natal chart really quick. He has natal Neptune in Libra in the second house. It's retrograde. So yes, this is a man who lies about his money and his finances and who uses Libran energy. Libra is all about our relationships with other people, connections to other people. With Libra energy and Jupiter in Libra in the second house, Jupiter and Libra in the second house, Neptune and Libra in the second house, and that Neptune is retrograde. Donald Trump is a man who needs allies. If Donald Trump does not have friends, he does not have money, and he does not have favor. That Jupiterian energy is our luck, it is our growth, it is our expansion. Jupiter in the second house. In Libra, I grow and expand my wealth through the connections that I have with other people. Neptune in Libra retrograde in the second house. I lie about my finances, but second house energy is not just finances. It's not just our personal items that we have. It is the values that we hold. Jupiter, Libra, second house, Neptune, Libra, second house, retrograde. I lie because when we see Neptune retrograde, we're seeing deception and things becoming clearer. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So Neptune retrograde in the second house in Donald Trump's natal chart looks like I lie. I lie, I lie, I lie. I lie about the money that I have. I lie about the resources that I have. I lie about what's going on with my finances. And he just got, that's one of his convictions or something like that, something going on with the cases and blah, blah, blahs, right? I lie, I lie, I lie. I lie about my finances. I lie about my money. This Neptune energy is the energy of an illusion. How many people are voting for Donald Trump because he's this successful guy? He can handle America's finances. It's based on a lie. I rise to power, I grow and expand through lies. Rise to power, grow and expand. We're going to look at Jupiter for that. I rise to power, I grow and expand through lies. We have Pluto in Leo in the 12th house. 12th house is going to be a house that's associated with Pisces energy. It's a Neptunian energy. It's a hidden energy. My personal power is in the dark. The personal power comes through lies. The personal power comes through deception. The personal power comes through people not seeing what's alive within me. Honestly, Kamala Harris also has this in her chart. It manifests in a different way, which is really interesting. And we're going to get into that in a second, but we have to go back to the November 5th first, and let me check to see how long this has been, because I feel like I've been talking forever. Oh my god, 45 minutes. Jesus Christ. Okay, we've got to do some sort of timestamp situation here. We've got to do some sort of timestamp situation here, because as much as I love this chat that we're having, I don't really want to feel like I'm too limited. There's so much to talk about, so much to teach. No. Okay. Oh my fucking goodness. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. 45. Not, the pen doesn't have any fucking ink. Oh my god. Okay. 45, 10. Are you joking me right now? Like, are you kidding? Are you joking? Desk full of pens right here. I don't want to use. Does anybody else get like that? I don't like using my new pens. Oh, I can pause this actually. Okay, so let's get into the election day specifics, and we're going to speed it up. Everything that I've been telling you about is the energies that are at play during this election day, okay? So everything has been super duper important. We have to understand we did not fall out of a coconut tree. We exist within the context of all that has come before us and all that is happening around us. I don't remember the Kamala quote. It does not matter. Okay. So we have Jupiter in Gemini, which is retrograde, which is interesting because both candidates on election day had a moment of feeling like they were not going to get their successes. I believe it was at the beginning of the day when we started with Pennsylvania. God, I don't remember that. Fact check me if I'm wrong. But at some point during the beginning of the day or something like that, there is some instance of Donald Trump being like, I'm not going to win this, or this is rigged, or this isn't working. And then when it looked like he was winning, he's like, just kidding, I am going to win this. And then of course at the end of the night, it's like declared that Kamala Harris is not the winner. I was going to say Kamala Harris is the winner. It was declared that Donald Trump is the winner, and then Kamala the next day is like, oh, it looks like I didn't get it. All of this is Jupiter retrograde in Gemini energy, because Kamala Harris is a Gemini rising, Donald Trump is a Gemini sun. So right now, Jupiterian energy is, I keep hearing that song, Luck Be a Lady, tonight. This Jupiterian energy, this luck energy, it feels risky. It feels like there's a lot of risks right now. It feels like, well, at least November 5th, It feels like there's a lot of risk. It feels like there's a lot of, we don't know what's happening. It feels like everything is up in the air. It feels like we're questioning everything because we have Jupiter retrograde and we have Neptune retrograde. So Neptune retrograde is going to manifest in a lot of different ways. This particular Neptune retrograde manifests in disillusionments. And the reason why this Neptune retrograde in Pisces is giving me disillusionment vibes is because we have Neptune retrograde in Pisces to the 12th degree. So that Saturn and Pisces isn't touching Neptune, but Neptune and Pisces is ruled by Saturn and Pisces. I love this Saturn and Pisces energy. Saturn and Pisces has been such a blessing. Now, you may not resonate with this all across the board, but for me, it's been really, really good because I'm a Pisces sun with a Capricorn moon. So I really have loved and adored this Saturn and Pisces transit. I feel like Saturn and Pisces has been dishing out so many blessings. I'm hearing the phrase just desserts, okay? So many things that you deserve are coming to you with this Saturn in Pisces transit, especially with it ruling over Neptune and Pisces. So like I talked about earlier in the call, Saturn is all about integrity. Like I talked about earlier in the call, Saturn is all about character. Saturn is all about truth. Okay. Earlier, I talked about Capricorn being egotistical and not wanting to be checked. But at the end of the day, highest octave of Saturn and Capricorn energy is going to be truth and it's going to be justice. Saturn is also a traditional ruler of Aquarius. So when we see Saturn energy, we're not just getting a peek into Sagittarius, we're also getting a peek. I'm not Sagittarius. We're also getting a peek. We're not just getting a peek into Capricorn, but we're also getting a peek into Aquarian energy. So Saturn as a planet is all about accountability. Saturn as a planet is all about responsibility. Saturn is the father, the moon is the mother. These two planetary energies are going to oppose each other. Why? They rule over Capricorn, Saturn, and they rule over Cancer, which is the moon. So you have the father and you have the mother. They are opposing energies, but sister signs are what? They are two sides of the same coin. So just because they're opposite energies does not mean that they fundamentally disagree. They are two sides of the same coin. They might manifest in different ways. They might show up with different characteristics, but at the end of the day, they have the same end goal. They have the same objective. That Capricorn energy, that fathering energy. A lot of people have beef with Capricorn because they have a negative relationship with men. They have a negative relationship with authority. They have a negative relationship with leadership. They have a negative relationship with their perception of fathers in general. Whether you had an experience where your father and your authority did not show up for you, it abandoned you. Saturn retrograde in Pisces, a lot of people, that feeling of my government abandoned me, my people abandoned me, my community abandoned me, that's where that's coming from. The results of the election triggering so many people and making them feel like they're not taken care of, making them feel like they can't trust others, making them feel like they can't trust to be taken care of. That abandonment wound was triggered for the entire collective. If that abandonment wound was triggered for you, what did you do with that? Did you heal that? Did you address that? Did you look at that? A lot of the things that are going on right now, you're going to see that there were a lot of experiences that you went through that if you responded appropriately to them, they have prepared you for this moment. Saturn energy, Saturnian energy, that fathering energy, that energy of integrity, that energy of accountability. If you want to thrive and create genuine, authentic success, you can only create that success and structure that lasts in that way, that lasts eternally. You can only create that legacy through honesty, through integrity, through accountability, okay? Saturn is not going to tolerate anything else. And so Saturn becomes such a huge player for us here. Why? Because we sat here for so long talking about Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and Pisces, and it's retrograde. For me, this energy, I want to say whistleblowing, this energy gives a vibe of the truth coming to light. This Piscean energy, this Neptunian energy, it's almost eighth house energy, very Plutonic in terms of the things that are going on underhand, the things that are going on in the spiritual, the things that we do not see, the things that we feel and we sense, but we're not so sure are actually going on. That's Saturn energy. That's Saturn and Pisces retrograde energy. So yes, a lot of things feel uncertain right now. A lot of things November 5th felt super duper uncertain. That is because of this energy. This energy is all about, I can't see very clearly what's going on. You want to navigate Pisces energy. You want to navigate the 12th house. You have to use your extrasensory abilities. It's like navigating around a room and all of the lights are shut off. You're going to behave differently. You're going to move differently. You're going to be thinking about, okay, where is my bed in this room? Where am I? What wall am I facing? Where is the window? What's going on? You're going to be feeling around for things. You're going to be moving more slowly than you would be if the lights were turned on. Consider what happened on November 5th, a moment where the lights are completely shut off and everything is happening differently and everything is happening smoothly. There were a lot of people who were talking about Kamala and feeling so abandoned by Kamala. This is really interesting because Saturn in Pisces is retrograde, Neptune in Pisces is retrograde, and that's going to be on her birth chart. That's the 6th. Wait, yes, this is for the 6th. This is for the transits. This is for the transits. Okay. Kamala, let's pull this over here. Okay, so looking into Kamala's chart a little bit. Looking into Kamala's chart. Okay, hold on. I have to pause this and get my life together. Okay, I lied. We're going to wrap up what happened on election day before we get into Kamala's chart because her chart is really interesting and then we're going to go down that rabbit hole. So first, looking back on what was happening during election day. Now, on the day of the election, we started off with a Sagittarius moon. And then as we moved throughout it, we moved into a Capricorn moon, which is really, really interesting because we talked about those themes of Sagittarius moving into Capricorn. At the beginning of the day, with all of the Sagittarius energy, we have a Sagittarius stellium. We have the moon in Sagittarius, we have Mercury in Sagittarius, we have Venus in Sagittarius. Now, this feels a lot like freedom. Kamala Harris's song, Being Freedom by Beyonce, is such a powerful freaking everything. Okay, go listen to the song Freedom by Beyonce from the lens of Sagittarius energy, putting freedom over everything, and Aquarius energy being the underdog and the amendments that we create in order to create justice and equity for all. When you think about those things and you listen to that song Freedom by Beyonce, and that being the song that Kamala chose for a majority of her campaign, that is incredibly powerful. So at the beginning of the day, with that energy in Donald Trump's camp, because he has a Sagittarius moon, please click the right button. Yes, Donald Trump has a Sagittarius moon in the 4th house. Beginning of the day, the transits went through the moon went through his 4th house, his 5th house, and Capricorn is intercepted, so it was in his 5th house for the day. Okay, so what I get immediately is on this election day, if I'm just looking at all of the Sagittarius energy, what I feel intuitively is that it felt like the day began in Donald Trump's favor. And I don't mean energetically it was in Donald Trump's favor. I'm saying it felt. I'm saying if I was on his team, I'm saying if I was one of his advisors, I would have felt really good that day and I would have felt really good the day before. But we end that day on a Capricorn moon. And what did we just learn about Capricorn? What did we just learn about Saturn? Saturn is about authenticity. Saturn is about honesty. You're not going to plagiarize an election. You're not going to cheat on an election and get away with it on a Capricorn moon. And so you're starting the day off feeling optimistic, as Sagittarius does. I'm going to do whatever it absolutely takes in order to get my freedom. And you're ending the day on a Capricorn moon. And we don't hear from Kamala until the next day, which is a full on, it would have been a full day of Capricorn because we ended the night at 7-degree Capricorn. So yeah, we would have went through November 6th being a full Capricorn day. So the first day that we hear from Kamala, that she gives her address and says, okay, I'm conceding, I accept what the American people said, was a Capricorn moon day, which is really interesting and really important. Like I said, Saturn is such a huge key player in this. So if we started off with with a Jupiter moon that was ruled by Jupiter in Gemini retrograde, then the Trump team probably woke up saying, this is our fucking day. This is our motherfucking day. We absolutely got this. It's in the bag, whether it's in the bag through integrity rooted means or it's just in the fucking bag. We got this shit. Let's fucking go. We end the day with a Capricorn moon that is ruled by Saturn in Pisces. That Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. And whenever we're looking at that Saturn retrograde in Pisces, we're also looking at Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So there's some weirdness that's afoot here. There's some lies that are happening here. There's some manipulations that are happening here. And here's the mistake that the Republican team most likely made. And when I say most likely, I mean based on my intuition. All of this is alleged for entertainment purposes only. And I never say that for my shit. But a couple of years ago, I did a chart reading on Jeffrey Epstein, and I did not do a lot of celebrity readings or criminal readings after that because it was too good and it was too fucking accurate. So for the purposes of this, I have to put in that allegedly for entertainment purposes only. And it's going to be in the description too because I just putting it out there, okay? So Trump's chart, that Neptune and Libra in the second house, that Neptune retrograde Libra in the second house, and his Jupiter stationing direct in the second house in Libra. This is a man who has built success, growth, and expansion through lies. This is a man who thrives in lies because he has a Sagittarius moon. So he has a Sagittarius moon that is ruled by Jupiter in Libra in the second house. I don't know where his moon is. Where's his moon? Is his moon in the fourth house? Yes, he has a Sagittarius moon in the fourth house, which is ruled by Jupiter and Libra. And the reason I'm saying ruled by is because Jupiter is the ruler over Sagittarius. So wherever we see Sagittarius in the chart, if we want to learn more about that placement, we're going to look to Jupiter. We're going to look to its ruler to get more insight. So he has this is so good. He has a Sagittarius moon in the fourth house, ruled by Jupiter in the second house. Now, getting into that energy, moon in the fourth house is very close. It's very private, okay? Private. Whenever you're seeing fourth house energy, eighth house energy, or 12th house energy, these are water house signs. These are water sign houses. These are water sign energies. There are water sign themes within this. What do we know about Cancer energy? We know that Cancer is ruled by the crab. We know that crabs also move a little bit different, just like the planet Uranus does. Crabs do the whole side to side walk, right? And I heard an astrologer say Cancers are very passive aggressive because crabs do the whole side to side walk. They don't come at you directly. And I think that that definitely applies here when we're looking at this fourth house energy. What do we also know about crabs? Crabs have a hard outer shell. So when we're looking at crab energy, I really do not want this video to be too long, y'all. Okay, we're at an hour. I think we'll go for an hour and 15 minutes. And if I need to do a part 2, then we'll do a part 2. What time is it? Okay. So, this energy, a Sagittarius moon in the 4th house, this energy is private. It's private, it's closed off, it's not an energy that gets shared with the world. And what's private and what's closed off and what goes on inside, the 4th house is like your bedroom. Okay? The 8th house is like the skeletons that you have in your closet. But the 4th house is like your bedroom. It is the most intimate room of your home. Everybody does not get invited into your bedroom. Okay? The 10th house is your job. It's your public persona. You meet somebody random off the street. They say, "What do you do for work?" You probably tell them your job. You probably tell them what you do. You probably tell them, what you do for work. This is public information. Somebody walks up to you off the street. They say, "Tell me your home address and where I can come find you, where you sleep at night." You say, "What the fuck? I'm not telling you my home address. Get out of my face, weirdo," right? That's the difference between 4th house energy and 10th house energy. So when I have my moon in Sagittarius in the 4th house, I'm somebody who emotionally really values my freedom, but I'm also somebody who is very secretive. I'm very secretive with my emotions. I'm very secretive with my feelings. This is really, really interesting as well because Donald Trump has Mars in the 12th and Pluto in the 12th in the sign of Leo, and he has a Leo rising at 29 degrees. And so there's all of this energy going on in his 12th house, which is the house of your subconscious motivations. It's like a house of prisons. It could be our own prisons, our mental prisons. It can be physical prisons. It could be a house of addictions and different things like that. So he's got all of this private energy, but in the same breath that he has all of this private secret energy, it's all on Front Street. It's all in the public. So the energy that we get here is somebody who hides in plain sight. The energy that this screams to me is hides in plain sight. It's like the energy of somebody who is going to overshare, but the reason why they're oversharing is so that you don't ask them about the thing that they don't actually want you to know about, okay? That's the energy that comes from his chart, somebody who hides in plain sight. So, the day starts off with his lunar return coming to an end. The moon is in Sagittarius, his natal moon is in Sagittarius, and he's feeling confident. Like I said, he dwells in lies. That's his comfort zone. Lying and pretending to be something that he's not, saying whatever he needs to say. I want to say falsifying things so that they look a certain way, so that people fall under a certain impression and they do certain things, so that they invest in certain ways, so that they look the other way, so that they vote in certain ways, so that they blah, 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 blah. That is his MO. So we start the day off with that energy thriving. We start the day off with that energy being very confident. But how do we end the day? We end the day with a Capricorn moon. Capricorn as a father does not play that game. Capricorn as a father, you're not going to get away with that. And so what we're seeing as all of this is happening, as Saturn has been moving through this Pisces transit, I want to say I would have to look at the Donald Trump's legal troubles and everything that's been going on for him. But as Saturn has been moving through this Pisces transit, if I'm correct, there's been a lot of disillusionment, around that. And as the disillusionment continues, the web of lies, the illusions that have been cast, whether it's around this election or around anything else in general, it has to fade. It cannot hold up. And the phrase that I just heard is, I'm going to ride till the wheels fall off. So basically, the only reason why Donald Trump is powerful is because there are people who are willing to stand beside him. Like I talked about at the very beginning with Jupiter in Libra, if Donald Trump does not have allies, Donald Trump does not have anything. If you're somebody like me, I have Jupiter in Aries. I can thrive on my own. I'm an entrepreneur. I can create business success on my own. I can be abandoned by everyone and I'm still gonna make a comeback. I'm not reliant on other people in order to thrive or make it to my next level. Jupiter in Libra is the opposite. Jupiter in Libra, you need friends. Jupiter in Cancer is a different energy. Jupiter in Cancer, you need women. Jupiter in Cancer, you need to be a nurturer and you need to nurture other people. You betray women, you have Jupiter in Cancer, your growth and expansion is done. You betray your friends and your allies, you get abandoned by your people, and you have Jupiter in Libra, your success, your growth, and your expansion is done. It's like getting cut off at the knees, which is really interesting because Capricorn rules over the knees, right? Okay, so we end the day with this Capricorn energy. Saturn retrograde Pisces feels like justice. Neptune retrograde Pisces feels like justice. And I know this because years ago, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was staying in a hotel and I went live on the YouTube channel that I ended up deleting. And if you guys were following me all the way back then you might have remembered me talking about the astrology. And I talked about the future is female. I didn't say that exactly, but I talked about as we're moving through these transits and all of these energies, women are going to be the leaders. Women are going to be the people who are moving things forward. It's not that men can't lead. I believe that divine masculine energy is called to lead and called to be of service. So that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that women in leadership are the next big fucking thing. Women in leadership are the people who are going to be saving the world. And in that, I also said, Brianna, oh my goodness. Is her last name Breonna Taylor? Why am I blanking on her last name? I'm pretty sure it's Breonna Taylor, but let me look it up just to be sure. Okay, yes, I was correct. Breonna Taylor. In that video I recorded, I said Breonna Taylor would not get justice until her Saturn return, which would be Saturn in Pisces. And it recently just came out during her Saturn return, Saturn in Pisces, that one of the guys was newly convicted or something. There was a conviction in that case. They did violate her civil rights, I believe. That's what was said. It just happened recently. So Saturn in Pisces energy brings justice. Saturn in Pisces energy brings accountability. But Saturn in Pisces energy brings justice and accountability. It doesn't just bring justice and accountability in a Libran way. It brings justice and accountability in a spiritual way. That's why for those of you who are super spiritual, you might feel like the veils are just like so fucking thin, thinner than they have ever been before. That's why, because you've got Neptune in Pisces retrograde and Saturn in Pisces retrograde. All of this energy in the sky right now is like, it's like, saying the veils are thin doesn't do it justice. Saying the veils are thin, like I feel like your ancestor could manifest in the physical right here and right now. You know what I mean? That makes so much sense because the other night I was swimming and I literally saw a man in my backyard. Not a real life man, but a man. And he looked like an indigenous man. And it was just absolutely freaking crazy. But that's this energy. That's what's going on right now. So, energies from the other side are really able to manifest in the physical right now, are really able to, I don't want to say influence the physical, in a way, it's a co-creative process. Like, this is the time that you work with your ancestors. This is the time you want spiritual justice for the wrongs that were done to you. This is the fucking time. This is the time to cash in. This is the time to call in what you deserve. But this is not something that you choose to do proactively. This is something that happens naturally. This is something that has been underway. This is something that has been a long time coming. Okay, that's what Saturn and Pisces energy feels like. So Saturn in Pisces is bringing big accountability. If there was one day for you not to lie, this would be that day. If there was one day for you to get caught for a crime, this is that day. November 5th is the perfect day to get caught for a crime. November 5th is the perfect day to get caught for a crime. And the reason why November 5th is the perfect day to get caught for a crime, and that is so incredibly relevant, is because as the Harris campaign has been talking about for the past, 100 something days, you have a prosecutor running against a felon. And what I will say here is that I am an abolitionist, and I do not think that because you have a felony, you are inherently a bad person. We cannot forget about the school to prison pipeline system. We cannot forget about the very real consequences that we experience, the coping mechanisms that we exhibit as a consequence of the things that our ancestors lived through, the healing that we never got, the support that we didn't receive. So I'm not talking about that, and I'm really not talking about Donald Trump when I say that either. But the point is, we have Kamala Harris, who has run her campaign going, I'm the prosecutor and I know how to deal with guys like Donald Trump. Now let's move into Kamala Harris's natal chart. I'm done talking about this now. Did I make myself very clear? All of that Sagittarian energy, Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius Mercury, Sagittarius Venus. Venus rules over what? Venus rules over Libra, and Venus rules over Taurus. We have Venus in Sagittarius, which is ruling over Uranus in Taurus. Uranus in Taurus, Taurus is all about values. Uranus is we're slipping through the cracks and we want amendment. So Uranus and Taurus, the people that we didn't expect to see themselves as victims who have slipped through the cracks and they want a say, that Venus in Sagittarius energy, through their connections to one another, they've come together, they've banded, and they have voted for the opponent, that it doesn't matter what he does to other people, it doesn't matter if he deports them, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah. We want him in office. We're going to show up. We're going to make that happen. So that's what happened on the one end. And then on the other hand, you have spiritual justice and a spiritual can of whoop ass that is literally being fucking unleashed, and that is unraveling. And this is happening through Kamala Harris and her team. And I just want to make sure that I've said everything, because I want to timestamp this, but it's like everything flows into one another. So it's a little bit difficult for me to get a timestamp on this. And maybe I will just say that this is it for election night, and then I'll do another video. Let me make sure that I've said everything that I wanted to say about election night, because we started off the energy. I'm going to do anything. Mercury in Sagittarius. I'm going to say anything. I'm going to give anything. I'm going to share anything that I possibly can in order to win. Let me look at the transits. You have Mercury transiting the north, not transiting the north there. You have Mercury forming a really tight trine to the north node, but that Mercury in Sagittarius is also trining Neptune, which is retrograde. That Mercury in Sagittarius, because it just moved out of Scorpio, is trining Neptune retrograde Sag. It's like the energy of the day is misleading. The energy of the day makes you feel safe to tell a lie, confident that you're going to get away with it, but then it's like, surprise, not on my fucking watch. And it's like that Capricorn energy, that integrity energy. It's like with the energy of Mercury in Sagittarius, and this is trine Mars in Leo. It's like saying a thing, making a claim, being really bold about it, and sharing about it super freely. I know that I got this in the bag, and then it being like, wah, 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 that's actually untrue, and you're going to jail. That's the energy, okay? That's the energy and that's the vibe. So, November 5th, the energy of November 5th, 2024, the energy of the election feels like a last hurrah, one last chance, one last shot. I don't see it being something that lasts, okay? And we have to look into the other charts and everything in a different video. There's going to be a part 2 to this because this is already really long. We're going to look into what I see for Kamala. We're going to look into what I see for Donald. But what I'm seeing right now is that there was definitely some interference, which we know this. This is super obvious. Oh, there's going to be a bombing. Oh, blah, 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 blah. The people who lied, the people who interfered, the people who were operating on behalf of something that did not have integrity, that Jupiter retrograde in Gemini could also be trying to stop the growth and expansion, trying to stop the forward movement. And now I'm hearing that song from Hairspray, you can't stop the beat. You can't stop the beat. What's happening, the way that the world is changing, the way that things are growing has been a very long time coming. It's been a long time coming since 2008 when Obama was elected and Pluto first moved into Capricorn. I believe that I have those dates correctly. So things are coming full circle. It was like Obama was elected. Certain people got really agitated and frustrated with that because what is Pluto and Capricorn? Pluto and Capricorn is the transformations of government structures and systems. And those government structures and systems could look like abolishing the Electoral College. It could also look like changing the people in power, changing the people who run things. Donald Trump is like the last hurrah of white supremacy, but this is a change that has been taking place and has been underway for an incredibly long amount of time. It didn't just start in 2008 with Barack Obama, but that's like, if you want to look at like a microcosm that represents the macrocosm of what's been going on, then you want to look at 2008, you want to look at Obama, and you want to look at how people have been talking about this election, and they've been saying this is just like 2008. It feels just like 2008. But why did we lose? And why are we disappointed? Is it because women can't blah, 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 blah? Let me tell you something before I end this video. Kamala Harris is a Libra sun with an Aries moon. If there is one woman that you should absolutely never count out or underestimate, it is Kamala Harris. She is bigger than she looks. She is bigger than she appears. With that, I don't remember her exact chart, but I'm pretty sure she's got Pisces on the cusp of her 10th, or she's got a Pisces MC. She has Pisces on her perception, so she gets a lot of projections from the public, and she really is able to use that. It's kind of like, yeah, go ahead and underestimate me. Go ahead and think that just because I'm a black woman, you're gonna get away with stealing this election from me. Go ahead, because you're gonna mess up, because you're gonna fuck up. And when you do, I'm gonna see it, and I'm gonna be on your ass like white on rice, and it's gonna be over for you. That's the energy and that's the vibe. So oh my God, I have so much more that I want to talk about this. I feel like my juices are just getting started, but I don't want this to be a 2-hour long video. So I'm like, we have to stop this. We have to cut this off. I just want to make sure that I've said everything that I want to say about the election, all of the Sagittarius energy, all of this freedom energy that's going on right now. This is something really important to take into account. When the quote unquote results of the election came in and people immediately start talking, Mercury and Sagittarius, Mercury is communication, they start talking, my rights are stripped away. I don't have any rights now. You're not going to have any rights now. This is how they're going to hurt you. Talk, 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 right? The election results come in. Freedom is a big topic of discussion. Freedom will continue to be a big topic of discussion until January 6th, or up until and past January 6th, because Mercury is going to be in Sagittarius during January 6th of 2025 as well. So freedom, freedom, freedom. You're going to hear a lot of talks and a lot of conversations about freedom, a lot of talks and a lot of conversation about what people are willing to do in order to secure their freedoms. And a lot of things are going to come to light. And the reason why a lot of things are going to come to light is because of this Saturn and Pisces energy. This is spiritual justice. This is spiritual energy stepping in. This is, how can I say this? The way that the spiritual impacts the physical is not just through your great great grandmother showing up at the foot of your ex's bed and making him shit himself, even though that is fun and I do enjoy when that happens. But the way that the spiritual impacts the physical is in the generations that are born. And as a consequence of the results of the election, there were so many people talking shit about Gen Zers and future generations and blah, blah, blah. It's not true. It's a part of that Neptune retrograde energy. It's a part of that we can't see things clearly energy. The kids who have been born in the younger generation, that Pluto, oh my God, Pluto in Sagittarius generation, that Pluto in Sagittarius generation is made to create and carry out and perpetuate that change. And the Pluto and Capricorn generation, the babies that are being born now, the babies that have been being born from 2008, those are the people who are really, really going to be the leaders that are carrying out and perpetuating and solidifying that new structure that we create. So when we're talking about Pluto, we're talking about generations. We're not talking about anything in this video that has to happen overnight. Things feel like they're coming to a head because we have that Pluto in Capricorn in the 29th degree. But this has been building since 2008. Think back to where you were in 2008. Think back to where you were in 2012. Think back to where you were in 2016. Think back to where you were in 2020. Think back to what was going on in your life. Think back to what politics were at play in the world. In 2008, when Obama was first elected, I was in the 4th grade, and when he was elected, my teacher, racist bitch, came into the class and said the only reason Obama was elected was because America wants to prove that it's not racist anymore. And I guarantee you that in 2016, that racist bitch voted Donald Trump into office. That experience of Barack Obama being, I don't want to say a model minority, but kind of a model minority in a way. That experience of Barack Obama triggered this Pluto and Capricorn energy has not played itself out. It won't be over just because Pluto moves into Aquarius. This Pluto and Capricorn energy will continue to play itself out, especially as that Pluto and Capricorn generation, 2008 to 2024, especially as they get older and they grow into adults. Right now, we are beginning to live the consequences of the Pluto in Scorpio generation being like the millennials really getting primed and being put in that position to live out the themes that were going on as they were kids. A lot of people in that Pluto Scorpio generation, possibly, no, I don't want to say Pluto Libra, that Pluto Scorpio generation, beginning of Pluto Sagittarius generation, getting into office right now, stepping into those positions of power. So there's a transition that is happening right now, and you have to not look at the small, you have to look at how things are playing out on a really big level, how things are going to play out over the course of the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Okay? This is like Plutonic energy, the energy of generational planets. They don't play for the short term, they play for the long term. We're talking about long-term consequences. We're talking about the consequences that these things will have on future generations. And as we move into Pluto in Aquarius, all of that change and all of the children that are going to be born into Pluto and Aquarius, those are the kids that are going to hopefully, ideally, grow up in a world where more of their voices are heard, or they feel more empowered and free to share what's alive within them, what they need, what amendments they need, how systems need to change in alignment with them. Are you guys following me on this? So, long story short, lots of things about freedom, lots of things about justice, lots of things about change, lots of things are not looking the way that they seem. With Jupiter in Gemini, Gemini's information, conversation, it's ruled by Mercury in Sagittarius. Jupiter in Gemini retrograde feels like a limitation. Limitation on what? It's ruling over, or it's being ruled by Mercury in Sagittarius. It feels like a limitation on freedom. But this is it's an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. And we're going to see a lot more things come to light. Oh my God. I could talk about this forever, but we're done. That's what I see for election day. And my disclaimer is that I do obviously believe that there was interference. I do obviously believe that there were lies. And so that is the lens that I approach this from. You can take what resonates with you, take what it is that you like. And, oh, this is going to be really good. This is going to be really good. Chiron right now, or Chiron on November 5th, was at 20 degrees in Aries. Where is this? Is January 6th. January 5th, Chiron was in 20 degrees Aries. Chiron was 20 degrees Aries. Donald Trump has Chiron in Libra at 14 degrees. He has Jupiter at 17 degrees Libra, and he has Neptune at 5 degrees. I'm gonna have to look up a synastry chart for Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris has her sun at 27 degrees. 27 degree Libra sun compared to 5 degree Neptune and a 17 degree Jupiter. I'm not getting anything strongly on that, but we will look at it in the next video. What do I want to see now? Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries on January 6th. Chiron is still in Aries. Why do I want to look at Chiron in Aries? Chiron in Aries, what degree? Chiron in Aries in the 20th degree. Chiron is in Aries in Donald Trump's 9th house. In Donald Trump's 8th house. And that's why. That is a wound in the 8th house. A wound in the 8th house. A wound around secrets. Whatever happened and whatever's coming to light, whether it's this month, between now and January 6th, between now and several other years, the secrets that have been happening in the dark. Donald Trump's natal chart, he has Pisces on the cusp of his 8th house at 29 degrees. At 23 degrees. Pisces on the cusp of the 8th house at 29 degrees. And this Pisces, why do you keep saying 29? Stop saying 29. It's 23. And this Pisces on November 5th, 23. Saturn is in his 7th and Neptune is in his 8th. A lot of unsavory shit with his relationships, the skeletons in the closet, the investments, all of that shit is heading down south. And with Saturn and Pisces retrograde in Donald Trump's 7th house on November 5th, whatever he did, because it was connected to the people he was in relationships with, and he always does that because remember that Jupiter Libra energy in his second house, that Neptune Libra energy in his second house, the dirt that he does in relation with other people, the same thing that built him up, I'm 110% sure, is the thing that's building him down or taking him down. So either there's a whistleblower, it wouldn't surprise me if it was someone like Elon Musk, because we have that 8th house energy, something to do with investments, something to do with money. It's almost like there was a person who made a mistake. There was somebody who did something that they shouldn't have. They made a phone call that they shouldn't have because it's mercurial energy. And we could do like fucking astrological, we could call it the astrological FBI because we could probably figure it out. But long story short, somebody fucked up. Somebody fucked up somewhere, did something. Like, it would be some sort of poetic justice, like Hillary Clinton and the emails. Somebody sent an email they shouldn't have sent. Somebody said something they shouldn't say. Oh my God, Donald Trump and his whole, we're not going to need more votes, da 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 da. Like, they're going to figure out, either him or the people that he's associated himself with in the dark, the alliances that are happening that aren't being talked about out loud, the people who he is the mouthpiece for. Somebody on either side said something they didn't need to say, and the person that's going to catch them up on this, Kamala Harris and her team, is what I would assume, but I have to look at the charts more. Oh my God, I'm burping nonstop. The people that are going to catch him on this, it's going to be like, it's like a thread. They're showing me a thread. You find one piece of the thread, you pull it, and the rest of the shit just fucking unravels. Okay? And, oh God, we have to stop. We have to stop because we've been doing this forever. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you want a part 2, because a part 2 is definitely coming, and probably a part 3. I have so much more that I want to talk about, but that's what I see for election day 2024. That's what I see going on in the spiritual. That's a little bit about what I see happening for the United States energetically. I want to know your perspective. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know your feedback, and if you are looking to work with me or get some more resources from me in terms of life mindset and manifestation coaching, I would highly recommend that. You can check out the free resource library and get access to it using the link in my description box. So I definitely would recommend checking that out. I will have a part 2 up for you maybe tomorrow or the next day or tonight. I honestly have no fucking clue. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I love you guys so much. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I don't want you to let me know if you want more astrology videos. I felt to say it, but then I also felt to not say it, because I really only do this when I feel like the spirit is moving me, and I feel like the spirit is moving me. So this is really interesting. I'm interested to see how this shit is confirmed as the energy continues to shift and more things come to the light. Okay, I love you. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you in the next one.